One thing that I always thought was really funny is when people say, be yourself, or be yourself, bro, or like, be yourself. And what's really common with the be yourself thing is it always happens following you changing. Meaning, if you change some behavior, some action in your life, people will start to say, oh, be yourself. And what's so weird to me and what's so stupid to me is really think about be yourself. You see, if you felt like you were yourself, then you wouldn't want to change, right? You would just keep doing what you're doing. Because if you kept doing what you're doing, or if you keep doing what you're doing, it means that you're being yourself. Because you're doing what yourself is. But if you decide to change your actions for whatever reason in your life, then there's a high likelihood that you are being yourself. Because if you realize there's something that you want and you're currently not acting in the way in which you can get that thing, and because of that, you're like, okay, I have to change. I have to change my actions. Then you decide to change, and people look at you like, oh, be yourself. It's like, what are y'all talking about? I am being myself, or you are being yourself. You're trying to become the you that gets the thing that you want. Because when you are being yourself, you're doing what you want. So if there's something that you want and you need to change your actions to get it, then you need to change your actions to be yourself. To be yourself, you have to change yourself, if that makes sense. Like, you have to change to change. So it's always crazy to me when people even say the thing of be yourself. I know there's different contexts, right? Some people, it's like they're telling you to be yourself when you're literally mimicking somebody else's personality. Yes, okay, cool, that makes sense. Obviously, you should be you. It's cool to look up, and it's cool. And this is actually the second half of what I'll talk about with this. But generally in the first half of this, if you want something and you currently are not acting the way to get that thing, you have to change to change. So you changing yourself to get the thing you want is still you being yourself. Because, like I said earlier, if you want the thing, then you being yourself is you going after the things that you want, right? So you change to change. Cool. So on the other side of be yourself, sometimes there are occasions where, people, you've probably seen it many times on social media, where people are acting like other people. And the other side of this is a quick way to lead to mediocrity. You don't want to act like other people. You want to act like you. Because someone is already them, if that just made sense. Basically, if you're trying to copy somebody else, they're always going to be the original. You're always going to be the fake. So now whenever somebody sees you, they're going to think of somebody else instead of thinking about you. Kind of how, like, you've probably heard where people have told you, like, oh, if you found out that you had a clone, you'd want to kill that clone. Because it's not you. You are the original. And you want to stay the original. So when it comes to being yourself in terms of the way that you express yourself, yes, you should be you. Because you can be you longer than you can be somebody else. Because if somebody is the original and you're expressing yourself by copying them, you'll hit a wall. Meaning if that person stops being them, technically, if that person just disappears or whatever, you lose your identity. You have an identity crisis. You don't really know who you are anymore. And I guess this is just more for my guys that if you're ever thinking about getting into content creation, or maybe even just generally in your personal life, make sure you're expressing yourself in the way that you want to express yourself. Not in the way somebody else is expressing themselves. Because you'll never be the original. You should want to be the original, especially since you only live once. Why would you want to live your entire life as somebody else? You might as well have somebody else make all your decisions for you as well at this point, right? So make sure you are you. So be yourself in the way you express yourself, but It's also okay to change yourself in order to get the shit that you want. That is still you being yourself. It's completely okay to change because you have to change to change. But also make sure you are expressing yourself in the way you personally want to express yourself, not in the way others express themselves, because you want to be the original, not the fake.